Alright, class. So this is where we left off. We've now got our soffit and our fascia in our section. So again, at this point we are now done all 3D geometry. The rest of everything that we're going to be doing is two-dimensional overlaid on top of our 3D section. Now, when creating a section like this, it's very important to make sure that everything fits on our sheet. So let's go ahead right now and create a new sheet. So I'm going to right click on Sheets, New Sheet. I'm going to use this A110 title block. Now, this is going to be a portrait orientation. So to do that, we select our title block and we simply rotate it. So click the rotate tool. The rotate tool works. It gives you a little minute hand. You click once to set it and then rotate. So there's our sheet. Drag our wall section from our project browser on to our sheet, and lo and behold, way too big. So how do we get this thing to fit on our sheet? Well, typically we would put break lines in here. We would remove some of the drawing so that we could fit it. So let's go back to our view. If you select the crop box, you'll notice a series of symbols. We used these little blue handles to adjust the box itself. Well, we also have the gap tool, these little squiggly lines. And notice if you hover over one of those, what it does is it creates a gap, or it shows you where it's going to gap it. So if you click that, it cuts a section out of our view. But if we drag this, we get all that back in. So what we want to do is we want to drag, we don't need this entire, we don't need to see this entire section of basement wall, so we can probably pull this up a little bit just to below the grade line. We can pull this down to just above the basement floor. And you'll notice now we have these arrows, and we can just move that region up to here. And we're going to break this again, and we're going to do it right above the windowsill. And we're going to come back down to here, and we're going to go right below the window head. And again, we can pull this section down very close. And we'll do that one more time. And the same thing, we're going to pull this up just above the windowsill and move this one down. Well, I guess we got to pull that down. Oops. If you pull them back together, they will rejoin. So let me move this back up and get this down to the window, just above the window top, and pull that pretty close. Now if we go to our sheet, oops, you can see that it now fits into our title block. We can move the title up. Now let's go back to our section, our view. Now everything that we're going to do, we're going to put on top of this. So let's start with the break lines. Because we broke this thing up, we need to show that, hey, we are breaking this in the drawing. So to do that, we're going to go to Annotate, Component, and we're going to load Family. So what we're doing is we're loading a two-dimensional component. Those are all in your Imperial Details. So if you're in this folder, you go to Detail Items. You can also use this shortcut over here that says Imperial Detail Items. Detail items are two-dimensional blocks. They're kind of like AutoCAD blocks that you can place on top of your drawing. And the break line is up here in Division 1, General, and it's the only one in here. So we're going to load that. And the way that the break line works is you place it in your drawing, and you can see to one side of the break line it blocks everything out. So this is backwards. So what I want to do is I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. And now you can see that it's blocking out the right portion. So I'm going to move this down towards the bottom of my drawing. And I could probably even pull this down a little bit more. And I can nudge this down with my keyboard command. And I don't need these to be so far out. So I'm going to use these. I can't nudge it down that far, can I? Having some slight difficulties. I think I have to move it up a little bit. There we go. Until those arrows are... Now I can pull those in. I don't need them to extend so far beyond. I'm going to nudge it back down. And now, using the control key, I'm going to drag this down to make a copy of it. But again, I have to rotate it because it's the opposite way again. And now I can do the same thing again. I can pull this in. I can pull this up. Actually, I'm going to try to... You'll see that I actually get a center line so that those are aligned. But then I just have to extend this a little bit so that these all line up. And there you go. I have two break lines. And when I go back to my sheet, that's what I see. Well, once you print, you won't see these crop regions. In fact, you can turn that off now. You can go to hide crop region, and that's what you'll see on the sheet, two break lines. I'm going to turn my crop region back on for now, though, because I am now going to select those two, and again, holding control and dragging straight down, I can make a copy of those. Now, I don't know what just happened there. Let's try that again. That's weird. Oh, there we go. And again, I can nudge these down and nudge this back up. And there we go. And again, copy these down. They're not exactly working as I'd expect them to. Something weird's going on when I get them down here. Let me do one at a time. Okay. With these, we can actually extend these all the way out to cut off the soil. Okay, so now our break lines are in. May actually want to extend this one out a little this way too. Alright, so now that's all set up. The next detail item we're going to load is a 2x in sections. So we're going to go to Component, Load Family, and now we're going to go back up to here, Detail Items, Wood and Plastic, Division 6, Wood Framing, and we want Nominal Cut Lumber Section. And that just creates this crosshatch piece of lumber. Hit Open, and we want to load a 2x6, a 2x8, a 2x10, and a 2x12. Hit OK. And it defaults to 2x6. And you can see, let's zoom in down here, it just brings in a section cut of a 2x6. Now this, again, this is a two-dimensional element. So I'm going to click this in my view, then I can rotate it. Oops, not 93, I want to rotate that 90 degrees. And now I can move that and it'll snap so that it is my bottom plate. I can select that, and again I like to use that hold control and drag, and it makes a copy, and there's the bottom of my sill. I can copy that up again to my top plate, copy it down, and I've got my double top plate. Again, I can copy that up to here to my bottom plate for my second floor, copy it up again for my sill, and then copy it up again for my double top plate. And now you can see how the bird's mouth works. Coming down for my sill, I am going to go to component again, but now this is going to be a 2x8, and you can actually rotate after placement up on your options bar, although I don't think that'll, yeah, it'll rotate about the center axis, so you'll still have to move this, but at least it's rotated already. So that's a 2x8 sill. Now I'm going to place another component. I'm going to switch to 2x12, and that's interesting. Well, I've made a mistake. My floor is a 2x10. That's supposed to be a 2x12. Hopefully that doesn't mess anyone up. It just means our math was a little bit different from before. So I have to move this down, move this down, move this back up. No biggie. Move our 2x12 into place, and now I can actually pull my wall down to here again. Now I'm going to need a header. So what I'll do is I will place a 2x10, a double 2x10 header. So component 2x10 here and there. And again, now I'm actually going to use my copy tool from that base point up to this. Oh, I forgot that I need a 2x4 ledger here for this, and I didn't load that. So I'm going to go to Component, Load Family, Nominal Cut Lumber Section, and load 2x4. Change this to 2x4, and there we go. There's a 2x4 in there. And I believe I now have every single piece of nominal lumber cut in section placed in this detail, or in this this wall section.